Millet is another, you're going to hear me say over and over again, this is my favorite crop. Don't believe me, they all are. This is in Indiana, and in America we call this, the other name for it is bird seed, okay? Which is kind of a shame, because millet is probably one of the greatest food crops there is. It'll grow well with hardly any water. It grows on crappy soil. You don't need a lot of high fertility. Matter of fact, when you add fertility, it actually begins to have problems. And I also find a lot of these crops that are drought tolerant. The cool thing, the one blessing of all the wet seasons we've had over the last few years, I've been able to learn like what crops are wet tolerant. Because I think that's going to be more an issue that we're going to deal with in our region than drought. Not that drought can't happen. Go to the next picture. This is a foxtail, an Italian foxtail millet. I'm going to kind of move a little faster here on some of these. Let's go to the next picture. That is probably the foxtail millet up close. And as you can see, it does have a hole on it. And so again, millet, you have to have a way to remove that hole. I have a little hand crank rice dehuller that I use, and I run millet through it, and it works great. So we go to the next picture. That is raggy millet, otherwise known as dragon claw. This one is really strange. I grew up, finally got some seed that germinated. I had some seed sent to me from some guy in India that did not, none of it germinated. I finally got some seed from Kusa Seed Society and grew it out, and it was the most incredible heavy tillered plant. Tiller just means it grows one stalk, and then pretty soon it starts to grow out other stalks, and that just becomes a mass. And when it tillers heavily, sometimes that can help you when you have heavy rain, so your plants don't lodge or fall over. This did great, produced big seed heads, harvested all this seed at the end of the season, germination tested it, and 1% of the seed germinated. I have no idea why. I didn't do anything wrong. So go to the next picture. But I'm going to keep working on this one. That is Japanese barnyard millet, otherwise known as billion-dollar grass. Anybody here know what billion-dollar grass is? John, you know what that is, don't you? The government marketed it back in the 70s as billion-dollar grass.
I've not heard that term.
Yeah. Anyways, it was supposed to just, because it grows really fast. You can get a yield. You can get two crops a year. It does what's called retuning, which means once you harvest it, it will grow back and produce a second seed crop. I've not eaten any of this yet, but some of these crops would just be great for biomass. If you're going to use it for like a fodder, or you're going to use it for composting. Go to the next slide. This is Hell's Canyon millet. It's another foxtail. And if we go to the next slide, that's some of the millet that I dehulled. Didn't get perfect. There's a little bit of hole left in there, but most of it dehulled. And then go to the next slide. This is what I find exciting about this particular, the Hell's Canyon. In my best Indian accent, this is the ragi roti, okay? And ragi is the type of millet, and a roti is the kind of bread they make with it. And what I was amazed, I found this recipe. I like very traditional recipes that don't require a lot of fancy ingredients. If you go to the next slide, this is a ragi roti, or a roti, and it was a bread, and the only ingredients were millet and water. No oil, no salt, nothing, and it was a process of how they did it. And I was thinking these are going to turn out to be crackers, hard as a rock. But the process that I followed, as I started to fry them in water, you don't put any grease. Man, they puffed up pretty nice. And anytime you get air pockets in bread, that's kind of where you get flavor. I've read there's a whole science behind air pockets in any type of bread because it has something to do with your smell and the chemicals in the bread and so on and so forth. But anyways, I was excited about that I actually cooked something that tasted good. Go to the next one.